I'm Chris Williams from Cyclone Fanatic and a proud Iowa State graduate from the class of 2007. No one shows up like Iowa State fans.
And Cyclones support Cyclones on and off the field.
Your gift can provide scholarships to students, fund groundbreaking research. We could even drum up opportunities for the marching band. Visit MoveWhatMatters.com to learn how you can make an impact today.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Cyclone Fanatic post-game show. I'm your host, Leah Nelson. Connor Ferguson will be joining me in the studio to talk about Iowa State's win over Arizona State. But before we get started, we got to thank our sponsors as always. Our friends over at Channel Seed, they are our title sponsor for both the men's and women's show. So we're super excited to have them on board. And then our friends over at Keen Project Solutions. They are celebrating 10 years of innovation, serving ag, industrial, and commercial customers with pride. Be part of a team that values your dedication and turns your expertise into impactful solutions. Make sure you visit thinkdifferentthinkKeen.com today to apply. And then our friends over at Raymond James. Thanks to Raymond James Financial Advisors, Clay and Chase Natuzel, a family of lifelong Cyclone fans assisting clients with all their financial needs for over 32 years. With offices in Carroll, Ames, and Ankeny, you can connect with Clay and Chase Natuzel at raymondjames.com/Natuzel. All right, Connor, come on in here. Big game. Obviously, late surge for those Cyclones to beat Arizona State. Obviously, it was a little nerve-wracking, but the Iowa State Cyclones did it. So what are your thoughts?
Man, another gritty, tough road win. It just seems like at this point they're all going to be that tough to come by. Nothing's ever going to go as planned, and thank goodness you were the team with Curtis Jones today. That was quite the performance out of him to get Iowa State to 17-2.
It was pretty incredible. You know, what worked for Iowa State today? Obviously, like I said, late surge. But what was, a game change or something that helped the Cyclones get that dub today?
Well, so in the first half, Leah, you go into the break and you look at, they only had 5 turnovers forced. And Arizona State, I think, is near number 300. I think they're like 277 or something in the percentage at which they turn over live balls. And you only forced 5 in the first half, and that's low for Iowa State's standards. It's low for what Iowa State expects its defense to do. And now you go look in the second half, I think they ended with 18 total, so they had 13 in the second. And once you flip that script, everything else came a little bit easier to you. And despite only having really one dominant scoring threat, plus Keyshawn Gilbert for 5 minutes at the end, you're able to get out of there with a victory.
Obviously, a little nerve-wracking. I've said it a couple of times, but what can Iowa State change or do differently for their big game against Arizona coming up?
They could magically get Milan a new hand. That would help a lot.
Right. But that's not going to happen. So What else can they do?
Oh, man. It's just got to be a more free-flowing offense, a smoother game where you're getting the ball movement around to the point where you're creating those plays on your own without the need to force a turnover, without the transition offense that Iowa State does thrive on, or force more turnovers. I struggle asking a team that already does that well to do it more, if that makes sense. I mean, that's kind of, there's a level of relative to everything that you can do. And I think if Iowa State can get its offense flowing a little more smoothly, and the big reason it isn't is because you're without Milan. But the smoother that gets, the easier these games are going to be to win. And you end up winning that one by 15, but it didn't feel like a game you're going to win by 15 all day.
And you said earlier, obviously, it's going to be hard to win, Big 12 games, especially when they're not at home. But talk about the crowd. It seemed like Iowa State had a lot of fans. It was super loud, and it was exciting. I could hear, when Iowa State would get a turnover, Cyclone fans were going crazy.
Yeah, I was reading some tweets. I think Travis Hines had one saying that the Arizona State fans were chanting at the Iowa State fans. And he said if you're doing that in your home arena, especially where the two schools are located, you're already probably in a little bit of trouble anyway. So I was impressed with that. And I always like reading tweets about the crowd and stuff like that. So it's cool to see how many went down and made that trip. Really insane.
It shows just how awesome Iowa State fans are. But I also thought it was kind of funny that Arizona State football team showed up with their trophy and a little like chirpy. But that's how I like it. You like those games like that?
Yeah. Where was Scattaboo and Levitt? I mean, those were the two stars of that. Like, I figured for sure did they get paid to go to the game? And like those two weren't available because you got to pay more than one guy. I was just dumbfounded. I'm looking for those guys every time they showed them. But it did seem like the players that were there were having fun. So that's what that's about.
It was super exciting. Obviously they've got a big game against Arizona. What are a few things that Iowa State needs to really lock in on in these next couple of days as they take a little break, but also get prepared for this next big game?
Well, yeah, you want to obviously control a game. You want to, demand excellence out of your team, and TJ's going to do that, and he's going to go make his adjustments. One thing I'm looking at this game ahead that you're playing Monday night at 9:30 Iowa time. So look at kind of how is that going to affect your players? Is it going to feel like you're waiting around all day? And Arizona is off to a really good start in Big 12 play at the same time. And you just don't want to excuse me, my voice is going out this week. You don't want to underestimate them. And at the same time, can you go in there and play your game, play that game that you played the last 10 minutes today? Can you start out with that? And can you continue that momentum throughout the day?
Love it. And then Aiden's letting me know that we've got a video from C-Dub. So we'll have to watch that bad boy.
Did something weird. I sat in the stands today. It was kind of sweet, actually. Awesome atmosphere in Tempe. I don't have a voice. That was a great win. What I learned today about this team that I didn't get great perspective of last week was when you're ranking the top 5, how everybody's just giving you their best shot. And it was clear coming into this game that Arizona State had this one marked, and Iowa State really couldn't have played much worse in the first half, but completely locked down defense in the second half. You outscore that team by 22. And Curtis Jones, 5 of 10 from 3, 33 points. One of the great guys. He's stacking them one after another in these like iconic type games, and just enjoy it. It's really cool. I bet it was 60-40 Arizona State fans, but Iowa State fans were crazy down here. It felt like a neutral court postseason type game. It's a good win. That team. There we go. Yeah. That team was ready for them, and they didn't play well in the first half. Locked down in the second half. Now you travel south to Tucson. Great win today for Iowa State.
Are you muted? Nope, can't hear you. What a great reaction from C-Dub. There you go. I think I can hear you.
How about that? Are we good?
Yeah, we're good. What were you going to say?
No, I wasn't laughing at his analysis. I was laughing the whole time at the voice cracks that kept getting worse. And I'm getting bad with it too with the weather. So,
okay. Or you're just cheering really loud for those Cyclones. Which you're about to do pretty soon because Iowa State women's basketball is taking on UCF at 4:00, and Chelsea and I are going to go live in about 6 minutes. So pretty exciting. I'll let you get to the game. But thanks for hopping on Postgame with us. Glad Iowa State was able to come out with a win. Thanks again to all of our sponsors, Channel Seed, Keen, Raymond James, and thanks for Aiden for producing. So make sure you guys tune back in a little bit. Go Cyclones.